Ladies and gentlemen, many things changed with the release of Minecraft 1.12. Some of them just normal gameplay stuff, some of them map making and commands related. If you want a comprehensive look of all the normal gameplay changes, I have a video up for that. There should be a card sliding onto the video just about now to take you there if you want to see it. In that video I said I wouldn't go through the command stuff, the map making stuff, and that instead is going to be in separate videos, and this is the first of them. This one is going to be about sort of the lowest effort, how do I get my stuff to work? So if you've upgraded to 1.12 and your map or your command block system is no longer working, this video is going to tell you everything you need to know to understand why things broke and hopefully how to fix it. So this map that we're in right now is one I made in Minecraft 1.11.2. So it has a bunch of command blocks in them and they have all been run. You can see this one has a success message in the previous output slot. It tells us that an object has been successfully summoned. Now, what we're going to do is run it again and see that it doesn't work. So let's run that again. And now you can see that we have an error in the previous output. Instead, it says data tag parsing failed, expected, and the curly bracket, but got colon at, and a whole bunch of stuff. You can read it yourself. So the most wide change that is going to affect mapmakers in this upgrade is a change to the NBT Json parser. So whenever you put data tags into a command like this to match or to set NBT data, then the parser for that has changed and those might be broken. Not necessarily broken, but might be. And there's a bunch of changes to it that we're going to go through separately. So one of the changes that has happened is that the parser will now require a string to be quoted if it contains any character that isn't alphanumeric, a period, an underscore, a plus, or a minus. So in this case, we have the string here that says Minecraft : redstone underscore block. Now the colon in that is not one of the listed characters, so we have to enclose this in quotes in order to make this work. The rest of it works absolutely fine, but if you have a string that is of that format, then you have to put quotes around it. So if we make that change, you can run the command and it successfully summons our redstone block. We have another example of that here as well. This, you can see this gives a secret command wisdom paper here. I have one from Minecraft 1.11 still, and it has some lore on it. So there's lore on that, and that is set through the command where you can see the lore has strings in it, and they're just comma separated in this array. Now if we try to do that again, we get nothing, and you can see there's again a tag parser problem here, and the same thing applies. These are strings, so they need to be encased in quotes. And there's 3 of them for the 3 rows, so if we do that, we now get another secret command wisdom paper. Another thing that the old parser would do and the output to the game would do is it would index lists. So if we take a look at this, this is a block data command on this chest above here, and it has an items array in it with indices for the entries. So this is a 0 colon index for this compound that says there should be a redstone block in the middle of this. Now, if we look at the previous output, it says the block data has been updated to, and that also has this 0 colon index in the output. So the game will actually output that in Minecraft 1.11 and earlier, but in 1.12 it doesn't anymore, and it's also not accepted. So if we try to run this again, then we get a new error message in here where we expected an and bracket but got a colon instead. So these will be fairly common if you've done the thing where you do block data or entity data on something and then copy paste the result. And what you need to do is you need to remove that index and then run it again. And well, now it will say that the data tag did not change, but you can also see that now it no longer says the index here in the item string. And of course, if we take this out of the chest and run it again, the block data actually gets updated and it gets put back into the chest. So array indices need to change. Alright, next thing the parser itself would accept an array of different data types. So here we have a motion array with a double, and a float. Now, that shouldn't be possible, and what happened was that the first element of the list would say that this is a double list, and that then it would try to parse the rest of it, and it would just like accept but fail at the last one. So that you can see it says entity data updated 2, and since what we wanted was the y coordinate to be set to 1, so this thing flies upwards, this would actually work even though it's actually a little bit incorrect. But if we do that now, see, nothing happens, and it will complain here that it expected a double but found a float. So if you instead make all of the data in the list the same type, then it now works again. So that's probably more of an edge case, but it might have to be fixed for some people. Now, there's a new way to specify integer and byte arrays. I don't believe byte arrays have been used anywhere where you could interface with it using commands, but int arrays have been used in one place at least, and that is summoning a firework rocket. So if you would summon a firework rocket, or indeed an item that is a firework rocket, then you could specify the colors in an int array like this. So you see objects successfully summoned before, but if we try to summon it again, it's all black. And it didn't used to be black, it used to be blue and red is what it's supposed to be. So this thing is no longer an int array unless we put a prefix on it, which is an I and a semicolon. And if anywhere you need to make a byte array, you do the same thing, you put a B and a semicolon instead. So if we run that again, we now get our blue and red fireworks again. Now, this next one might require some explanation, and that's why we're back in Minecraft 1.11, as evident by the little pop-up. So let's do that to get rid of that. We have a looping chain of commands here. This is actually completely empty. We don't need that. We're just interested in the chain itself. So this says looping, and then we have a test for if I'm holding a redstone block. So if I'm holding a redstone block, we're going to do this, which is, say, stopping the loop. Then we have the same test for, again, a new conditional block that sets the block data of the repeating command block at the bottom to be auto off, so it turns off the loop. So we say stopping the loop, and then we stop the loop. Makes sense, doesn't it? And then we test for once again and clear my redstone blocks. So basically what happens is, if I'm holding a redstone block, we clear that redstone block away, and then we stop the loop. So let's find out what actually happens if I switch this on. So it's saying looping, 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 and then I'm going to hold this redstone block. So we see the trace of the commands. It's finding me. I'm holding the redstone block. It's stopping the loop. It's updating the block data to switch the loop off, and then it is clearing my inventory. And then it says looping again. So what happened in this version of Minecraft was that whenever a repeating command block was run, it scheduled itself to run again, which is the repeating nature of the thing, and then it scheduled also the entire chain that it pointed into to run. This also meant that you couldn't, for instance, do block data on one of these to turn it and then have that take effect. In fact, you could even replace the repeating command block with a stone block, and the chain blocks would still execute another tick. In 1.12, a repeating command block will schedule itself only, and it will instead run the chain whenever it runs itself. That means that when you switch this off, there's no extra tick anymore where the chain runs, even though it shouldn't. So if we try that again, if I grab a redstone block, and we move over so we don't hold it, and then we start this chain, and we have looping, looping, looping again, and I hold it, says finds me, stopping in the loop, block data updated, and clearing the item, but it no longer says looping one extra time. So if you have a map, or a command block system or whatever, that relies on this extra tick, then you'll have to update it to not do that anymore. It should be straightforward. Most maps shouldn't notice this at all, really. It's really a case of where most maps will rather have subtle bugs fixed by this change, but it's good to know. This is definitely a change that can affect some advanced systems. Then we have a couple of more things to look into. The give and replace item commands have been changed. You can see here it used to give me a stack of 64 diamond shovels. So I can get 64 diamond shovels. It says that it's given it to me and I still have it here in my inventory. Now, if we get rid of these and try that command again, I get no shovels at all, because it now checks the stack size on the item. So you can no longer use the give and replace item commands to give stacks of things that were too big for their normal stack requirements. If you've been using that, there really isn't any way around it. So I'm afraid that you'll just have to accept that and redesign your command systems to not require that. And then, of course, the achievement command is gone. The previous output now lists a string that isn't even a string anymore because the whole achievement system has been removed from the game, and of course I can't run it. It does nothing. And then the same goes for scoreboard objectives that had the achievement types, the statistics types from the achievements. Those no longer exist, so I had one to add an objective here and then to remove it again, and it worked down here, add a new objective, but if I run it again, it says invalid objective criteria type. So if you have a map that relies on the achievement statistics, then you'll have to remake that to use advancement triggers instead. The new system can have customizable triggers, so you'll have to make your own advancement files most likely. And if you're using achievements in the /achievement command, obviously you can use this /advancement command if there is a corresponding advancement to the achievement that you were giving. Otherwise, you'll have to make your own advancement and then use the /advancement command to give that advancement to the player instead. Obviously, there's a lot of expressive power and stuff that we haven't touched on in the new advancement system. There's also the capabilities of this change to the chain running. Actually lets you do loops and do if then else kind of logic with the command blocks. We're not going to get into that in this video, we're going to get into that in another video and an even more powerful tool called functions. That is enough for this time. You should now be able to upgrade your map smoothly to Minecraft 1.12 and get it all working again. Hopefully shouldn't be too much work. I imagine most of the work is going to be updating JSON tags for NBT. So that was all that we're going to go through this time, and I hope you found this video useful. Thank you for watching, my name is slicedlime, and I'll see you in another video. Take care, bye bye.